Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Dunwoody Dialogues. I am Mark Galvin, your host, and this show is produced by Discover Dunwoody. So those of you that have been here before, you've heard this part, but you know we have a ton of shows. We met so many great people, either right here in the community or from the movie industry to even people that are trailblazers in travel, which is where we're going to go today. But whatever the case is, make sure you go back and check out those podcasts. So if I remember right, and Madison may have to correct me, our producer, we have a little tab in YouTube that says podcast. So you can go there and you can see that playlist of all those great people that we've talked to in the past. Well, what about today? I am thrilled to introduce you to a VIP from the meetings industry. She's a well-respected figure from both the industry and in Georgia. And we are so lucky to have her here. Please help me welcome Angie Ahrens. Angie, welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to see you, Mark.
It's good to see you. Yeah, we know each other.
We do.
How do we know each other?
We met back in 2012. We worked together.
How do you remember the year?
Because it's when I moved to Georgia.
Oh, it was right at the start.
Right at the start, yeah.
So we didn't actually meet in Georgia. We met in Vegas.
We did meet in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm sorry. Yes, we met in Vegas for the first time.
So we worked at the same place. Back then it was called Collinson Media and Events.
Yep.
It was Collinson Media.
It was Collinson Media and Events.
Yeah, okay. And they're now called Connect Meetings. You came out for a job interview at one of our events, and I met her there. So we have a little bit of history. So we probably are going to share some sort of secret signs every once in a while. Oh, you remember that? We'll try not to do that.
Yeah,
We'll
try.
make sure,
we'll try our best.
Yeah, we'll make sure we bring all of you into the know on what we're talking about. So you are now the director of global events at MRI Software, and you're the incoming president of MPI Georgia.
Correct. Yeah.
What does MPI stand for?
Meeting Professionals International. So it's a global organization.
And it used to be called GAMPI. When did that change?
Oh gosh, when did that change? GAMPI just sounds a little
Wimpy.
Yeah. I mean, rhyming. That rhymes. I like it. Yeah.
There we go.
MPI Georgia, it's always been MPI Georgia. When you look across the international plane, it's always MPI location.
Got it.
Chapters have always been named that way. So I think what people did was they tried to shorten it because that's what we do.
Yeah.
You know, like when the Australians say brekkie, like,
okay,
it's the same kind of concept. They're like, Yampy, it's easy, better than MPI Georgia. But it's MPI Georgia. It should be called MPI Georgia, says the marketing person in me.
That's right.
Yes.
So can we take the acronym and call it MPIGA?
No.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
MPI Georgia it is.
MPI Georgia.
So you're the incoming president, but you're doing some other things. I want you guys to hear about the great things that Angie has done. You are serving on the global board of trustees for the MPI Foundation. We'll get to that. Mm-hmm. But you began your career with Sigma Kappa sorority. Now,
Yes.
is my guess that you were in that sorority in
Still
college?
Still am.
Still? Yeah. Oh, well, you don't ever leave a sorority, do you?
You never know. You don't.
Yeah.
Lifetime member.
I am so sorry.
It's okay. I joined in 2000 and worked for the organization after graduation and became a volunteer immediately after that. But really, Sigma Kappa is what got me into the event space.
I was going to say, you became the director of events and programming, right?
Yeah.
So was that the highest level in their meetings and events programming department, whatever?
Well, it was the only position.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Not-for-profits is usually smaller, right?
Sure, okay.
And of course they evolve, they change. And it was a fun journey there. I started off doing alumni chapter work. So post-college, when you move to an area, you find your alumni chapter at large. I helped to manage all of that. And then when I thought I was ready to move on, they roped me back in with an events job. And I was doing kind of private events on the side and was like, sure, why not? It's where I met my first mentor. I went and did a hotel program, started my journey to the CMP, Certified Meeting Professional.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Because we do acronyms very well in this industry.
Yes.
And that was my journey. I started there and did that for 6 years.
What was your degree in?
My background is psychology and sociology.
Wow.
I have a minor in Spanish and legal.
Has nothing to do with the space you're in.
I would counter that.
Okay, wait. Hold on, let me rephrase that. Your degree was
Yes.
not aimed at meeting planning. Now, I could totally
Correct.
see you using that information. You are definitely using the skills that you learned with your degree in your role.
Yes.
How have you seen that play out? I mean, I'm just really curious. Where do you see that happening?
So I do have to say my background was really focused on joining the FBI, which is
Stop.
a lot of things people don't know this. I can
did
probably
not know
fingerprint everyone in this room, right? I wanted to work for the FBI. It was my goal. It was my dream. I like to work hard, so I probably got a little burnt out in it, which is why when the sorority afforded me the opportunity to go work there, I was like, I'll take a break. I'll get back to all this later. And then I fell into the event space to explain how psychology works into it and sociology. So social psychology is really where my strength is. So when you think about how communities engage, how people engage, I completely designed my experiences using that as my background. It's a unique way to do it, but it's a strategic way to do it. And I've always done that.
Every meeting is a experiment in social psychology.
100%.
Right?
100%.
All right. We could talk a lot about that.
Yeah.
We're going to push on. I do find that very interesting. I didn't know that about you.
Oh, learn something new.
This is cool. All right. So then you went to Connect Meetings where you and I met.
Yep.
And you were the senior director of meetings and events there. From there, you became vice president of operations at Leadercast. What is Leadercast?
Yeah, Leadercast was an organization and still is an organization, developing leaders worth following is what they did. So I had the great opportunity to work under an amazing CEO. Her name was Angela Robb. She's in the Atlanta area. Shout out to her. Great mentor. Really taught me to level up. I always thought I wanted to be in the VP suite, get up into that caliber. And she gave me this opportunity to really shine with my workload of who I was as an individual and really take my leadership skills to the next level.
Nice.
I did more than events there. I definitely oversaw the events program. We hosted 2 large events at the Gas South Center up in Duluth. And then we would broadcast that around.
Gas South Center is an arena
Yes.
large enough to host minor league hockey games and the like. So it was a large event.
Yep. And we would broadcast out to about 150,000 people worldwide.
Wow.
Beyond that, I oversaw the marketing team. I did podcasts like this. What else did I do? Client services. It was really fun to be part of that action and do what we needed to do for Leadercast. Met a lot of leaders worth following, if you will.
Yeah, it's good.
A lot of great interviews, a lot of great speakers. I loved it. But it was a different type of event for me.
Yeah. I went to a Leadercast event.
Yeah.
And I remember an array of speakers, and they were all very, very good.
TED Talk style. Yeah.
I remember Coach Saban being one of the speakers as an example. So really cool stuff. And now you are director of global events at MRI Real Estate Software. Tell me about, can I just say MRI?
You can.
Okay. Tell me about MRI.
And I love that you asked that because we talked a little bit about that before, right? Like when you say MRI, people think it's a machine that's doing medical scanning. That is not who we are. We are in the prop tech industry, so property technology, software space, over 180 products. So we really boil down to 3 areas. So you have your living department, which is your residential, think apartment complexes, etc. And then you have your commercial space, which are buildings like this, where the Dunwoody office is, tenant control, items like that. And then our occupier space, which is more like malls and things like that, or coffee shops. If you are using a payment portal, if you're doing scanning on location cameras, so we do the cameras that help people scan who's coming into their offices, scan who's coming into their buildings, into their shops. That's a lot of us too. I love to say a fun fact, Green Bay Packers, which is where I'm from, the stadium uses our software to scan the people coming in and out.
Oh,
and I love it. So we do a ton of events. We are really focused on trade shows, making sure field marketing. We have a team that does those globally. I have a coordinator in North America, a coordinator in London, and a coordinator in Australia.
Okay, when you talk about this, and I'm
a
little bit of specificity here, those people are coordinating the 10 by 10 booth or the 20 by 20 booth or whatever that is, and the design of it, which it takes a lot of resources.
It does, especially when you're thinking internationally, right? So
and then how do I ship it there?
Well, we have sources each location, so it makes sense why we have people in those areas.
Yeah.
But they do all of those, and then we have users conferences. So when you use a piece of software, you expect to learn how to use it, right? You need to go somewhere hone your skills. So we do users conferences in North America, in EMEA, and South Africa, and Australia.
Wow.
So we had all 4 in 2024.
And so you oversee all of those?
I do.
That's great.
I do.
Well, now you can see why she's the incoming president of MPI Georgia. I almost said it the wrong way.
You almost did. I could see
MPI
it.
Georgia. I'm gonna really practice and
Yeah.
get that down. So let's talk about
Yeah.
MPI Georgia. What does MPI Georgia do, and how does it relate to MPI?
Great question. So I would say MPI is Meeting Professionals International. As I said, it's an international organization. The I is definitely the international piece of who we are.
Yeah.
And really it's about building community. Meeting professionals come together. We crave to be by those who know what we're doing and who we can bounce ideas off and who can help us elevate our game. It's all about taking that to the next level. It's all about not being the smartest person in the room, right? You surround yourself with people who are smarter than you so you can
Right.
continue to elevate. And that's really where MPI Georgia comes in. It's the community under the umbrella of MPI. And what I love about MPI is it's not a regional aspect, so it's not all these different states. It's just Georgia. It's an opportunity for us to focus on the southeastern flair of who we are. Or you moved into, I am a northerner. I have to remember that. I've lived here for long enough. I should be able to.
We'll take you.
Well, thank you. But really, it's an opportunity for us to come together as a community and take that international appeal and make it more home. Make it
great.
more of an area where you can come together, get your education, get your network, build your professional development, do all the things you need to do outside of your everyday work, and maybe challenge you in a new way too. So MPI Georgia is a great community for me.
So for those of you who are not in the travel industry, this is well, we all know this. Most of the time we know this. There's an association for everything, right? And this
Everything.
is literally. This is an association focused on meeting professionals. And this is not an easy task. Running a meeting is extremely complex. There's so many moving parts, and being able to have a group of professionals that you can lean on and learn from is invaluable. Mm-hmm. So what do you do? You're leading into the president's role. So one of the things I'm curious on is, being the president of MPI Georgia, what is your vision for the time when you're president, and what will you do? What will your responsibilities be?
Yeah, going into 2025, 2024 and 2023, I have to backtrack a little bit because MPI Global did change our calendar. So This past term was a year and a half versus a year. So I was president-elect for about a year and a half, which is great.
You've been waiting for a long time.
Versus 1 year, but the whole board had to do it, right? So Carla, our current president, had a year and a half term versus a year. So amazing. She did a great job, and I love her for it. And going into the role, I want to stabilize us a little bit. And I say that because post-COVID, everyone had to do that, right? We had to go back to the basics, look to where we were, et cetera. And we're one of the biggest chapters. We're the 7th largest chapter in MPI Global. Okay. So I want us to make sure we have the right procedures in place. I want to make sure that we have all the SOPs, all the job descriptions, all the volunteer roles, the structure that we need in case we falter. What happens if someone moves out of state? Can we easily fill that position? And what does that look like with the right process and procedure in place to make sure they know what they're doing? So that's one thing I'm focused on. I would say the second is a strategic plan. As a chapter, we haven't really had one in quite a long time.
No, that's important.
So I'm putting a strategic plan in place with our board, actually this weekend.
Oh, goodness.
We're going to go through a 3 to 5 year plan and put a plan in place for the next president and those who come after, because it really goes into the third thing that I want to focus on is building the bench. Volunteering is really important, but we have to worry about economic times, the other organizations, burnout, all those things that really happen. And I would be remiss if I didn't say the industry is full of a lot of new individuals, and we need to teach them the way and the path. And building that bench and showing them those opportunities is how we get there.
So that's actually a question I had that's later, and it was, how do you build the bench, right? You've got a lot of young people coming in, some people that are potentially running a sorority and they're new in their space and they were planning on focusing on psychology, but now they're media players. How do you cultivate those young people to help them be successful in their role?
So if they're coming in, they're a new member, right? So we first start off with come an orientation process, make sure they understand the whole chapter, who they are, et cetera. And then we want to see them get engaged. I'm a big believer in that you get what you put in. right? If you are part of an organization, if you're not volunteering why are you there?
Right.
You need to put in what you want to get out of it. So
Can we talk about that
Yeah.
a little deeper?
Yeah.
So this is, I think, a very, very good point. And listen, a lot of us have seen it. We've experienced organizations where they say, you should get involved, you should get involved. In fact, I think in my high school, they were saying that, you got to get involved. And I don't think I really got it. I personally have seen that turn out to be of great value. Can we make it personal? How did you see that work by getting involved? What did that do for you? And how did that create professional opportunities or knowledge or even build friends? How did that help you?
Let me go to when I first started with MPI. I was living in Indiana.
Okay.
I was working for the sorority. That's where I was before Georgia.
You were a member all the way back then.
Yes.
Okay.
So when I became an event professional, I immediately reached out to my mentor, who was the person before me, because I was like, I need someone to tell me what am I supposed to do? Like, this is a new industry. I don't know what I'm doing. So she was like, join MPI. And I said, great. What is that? Right. And so I joined MPI Georgia, or Indiana at the time, and immediately volunteered for their special events committee, because that's what I thought only event professionals did at that point in my life, right? Got into it, and then next thing I knew, I was being slated on the board, but then I moved to Georgia. So I was supposed to be the VP of strategic events in Indiana, got installed, and then was like, bye, I'm moving to Georgia.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately, I dropped away from MPI for a while. My professional life was keeping me really busy. I didn't have a lot of time for it. And I just stepped away from volunteering. It felt like that was a huge piece of me missing. I'd grown up volunteering. I always volunteered. I didn't know what I was doing anymore. I felt lost.
Sure.
So when the opportunity afforded to come back, it was kind of when I role switched, had more time. I started volunteering again. And what I did was, I think Carla, the current president, it's always somebody like that, right?
Sure.
She tapped me and said, will you write the run-of show for Phoenix Awards, which is the awards gala for MPI Georgia? Sure, I can write a run-of show like the back of my hand. Of course I can do that. Next thing I know, I was on the board as director of membership. Next thing I know, I was slated to president-elect, and here we are.
So there's something out of that I think is really important, and that was somebody tapped you.
Yes.
Right? It's such an important thing, and you as a leader, I'm sure you're doing this. You see someone and they look like they're kind of sitting on the bench, if you will. They want to be tapped. And when they're tapped, all of a sudden they're super engaged. I think that's so important. Well, I love that. And for anyone anywhere watching, getting engaged does so many things for you. I would argue, I may be wrong, that it may have helped you professionally and getting other roles and growing in your career. They do complement each other, but it's a sacrifice, right? It 100% is a sacrifice, but it's worth it.
Yes, and it's a conversation I have to have with my husband often is, what's my balance? I would say at one time I was on 5 boards at once, and he was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I just love to give back, and it's
Sure.
because of the relationships, of the connections, of the professional development I get. And I think that's why MPI Georgia has afforded me the opportunity to be president-elect, because I've been on so many other boards. They're like, this makes sense.
That does.
And I'm like, sure, it makes sense. Let's do this together. And that's kind of where I'm on 3 boards right now. I've cut back.
Do they meet monthly?
Yeah. Not always in person.
Okay. Yeah.
We do a lot of like Zoom.
So I don't think that's crazy at all. I think I'm not on but 2 boards, but I have about 3 other things that I do monthly. It does help though when all my kids are gone. So that made it a little easier for me. All right, let's shift gears. New members. Can we talk about them? We've kind of, we've chewed around some of the edges, but if you're out there and you're thinking about joining MPI Georgia, what is something, first of all, we should do this. Who joins MPI? We know meeting professionals do, but hoteliers and other folks join also. So we've got to, MPI serves, and you'll have to correct me here or help me, meeting professionals, hoteliers. There are potentially people that are not connected to the industry.
Suppliers.
There's a great example. Audiovisual people and the like. So there's a ton of
anyone
people.
who touches a meeting.
Yeah.
Any
Caterers.
hospitality professional.
Yeah.
Right?
People do.
Caterers.
My wife did some work with a group. They put tablecloths and chair wraps on
Yeah.
tables. And
A
blah,
vendor
blah,
like
blah.
that.
Yeah, tons of
Destination
stuff.
management company, a CVB like Dunwoody.
Why did I forget them?
Yeah, it's okay. I got you. Really, anyone who hosts, touches a meeting,
Sure.
this is the best place for you.
So all those folks, you're one of them. You're a new person. You're thinking about getting involved in MPI Georgia. How do you make their life smoother? How does that transition work better?
Of course. I would say once you join, you would affiliate with a national organization, the global organization. I said national, I meant global. Global organization, and then you select your chapter. So this is the other unique thing about being part of a global organization. You can affiliate with multiple organizations if you'd like, multiple chapters. If you are a sales individual trying to sell DC, but you live in Georgia, you could join the DC chapter as well as the Georgia chapter. You can expand.
Really?
Yeah, you can easily join multiple.
Oh, that's cool.
So I would say first figure out why and where you need to go. So
For the record, figure out your why for anything.
Oh, 100%. 100%. No.
If I may say that.
Number one priority right there.
Yeah.
And then after that, Georgia specifically does a new member orientation every month. We do it. We call it the new member orientation, but I will say it's a member orientation because if you have taken some time away and you're like, what? I don't know what's going on anymore. It's a good refresher. We talk about all the upcoming events, what the chapter does, what the chapter's doing, who the people are, etc. So that is one way of doing it.
How long is orientation?
30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's online. Our VP of membership runs it.
Okay. It's just online. Just join virtually.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep,
that's
it's
cool.
called once a month. And then there's an opportunity to ask questions, get engaged, figure out where you want to go. At that point, we always talk about our volunteer opportunities immediately. Because if you, again, want to get something out of it, you need to get engaged. You need to do something. We have networking opportunities. So these are networking events on a quarterly basis run by our membership team as well. Literally, you just network. We actually were just down. We did a really interesting one. It was in Phipps Plaza at Alon's, which you would never think as an event space.
No.
They killed it. They did an amazing
that's
job.
great.
It was really popular. We had about 100 people there, and people went shopping They did all the things, but it was a great networking opportunity.
Yeah.
So we encourage that. We encourage education. We also do those quarterly. So that's a luncheon experience around town. We have picked various areas also to thinking about commutes and all of that jazz here in the state of Georgia. And then you do those. We have our strategic events as well, which are usually where we see a lot of people come in. Those strategic events are our classic, which historically has been a golf tournament. It's turned into bocce ball. We're reinventing it again this next year. We have our spring summit, which is all about innovation. That event needs to change every year. And then we have our Phoenix Awards, which are tomorrow night.
Yeah,
that's our big
right.
gala.
Yeah.
So we just invite you to come to an event. Those are pay by individual events. You don't pay for the whole year, so you can kind of select what you need to do. If you are on the road a lot, like I am, it's hard to get to them, but there's always an opportunity to come to something.
Oh, that's cool. Mm-hmm. So we haven't talked about the foundation. I want to circle back on that and kind of wrap up with this. So the MPI Foundation is one that you're you're on the board of trustees.
Yep.
What does the foundation do? What's its purpose?
The foundation is really, really great. And it's something that more people need to be aware of. As an organization, what we do is we give back to the community at large. So MPI Georgia, for instance, can apply for a grant to get an education speaker to talk about sexual trafficking, which is something that we really look at because the hospitality industry, unfortunately,
regrettably,
yes, it's part of that process. So you could learn more about it and how to combat that by getting a grant from the foundation. Or maybe you're new to the industry, you don't have personal funds, your company can't pay for your membership to MPI. You can apply for a scholarship and get those funds covered for you. Wow. We also provide scholarships to World Education Congress, which is our kind of flagship show in the North America area. There's a lot of opportunity to get involved with MPI Global through the foundation. And so we fundraise all year for it. We do it through IMEX in Las Vegas as well as Frankfurt.
Does IMEX stand for anything? So IMEX is a big show that happens in Vegas once a year. It's probably, can I say it's the largest?
It is the largest.
Okay, so it's the largest. I don't even want to say it's just meetings. It's travel. It's travel. It's meetings. It's everything. All these industry professionals meet in Vegas and network and do business, really.
And then they have one in Frankfurt, too.
So there's that's the international one.
Yeah, they're based out of Brighton in England.
Is it Frankfurt every year?
Frankfurt's every year.
Okay. All right.
So IMEX is based out of Brighton, England.
Okay.
Ray started that organization so long ago, and now
Wow.
his daughter has it. It's a really family business, and it's really fun to watch them grow. And we actually have one of their members on our board too,
Oh,
of
that's
the
cool.
trustees. But we do our largest fundraiser there. Rendezvous is a big party for it. We do smaller events. We did pickleball this year, so we're always fundraising so we can give back to the community.
Hey, do you know MJ, our
Yeah.
VP of sales? He played pickleball and he ended up messing up his back.
Do you know how
and
many
everything,
people
right?
get hurt playing pickleball?
I hear pickleball's really dangerous.
Oh my gosh, I don't play it because it scares me.
I think I'd rather play ping pong for the record. You know,
I mean,
seems
I'd rather play golf.
that's true. Fewer people get hurt playing golf.
I mean, fewer. Some
Yes,
of us are
fewer.
lucky.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Some of us don't, twist our ankle.
yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah.
riding. That's a whole other thing. We'll
Yeah,
listen to that.
we don't have to go there.
Yep. So this has been great. Thank you for joining us.
Of course. It's been my
Let's
pleasure.
share with everybody, where can they get more information on MPI? And if they would like to reach out to you, how can they find you?
Yeah, of course. You can find us on all the socials. So LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, any of those, just MPI Georgia is where you're going to go. And you can also find us on our website. If you go to MPI Global, all the chapters are listed there if you're watching from a different area too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Oh
coming.
my gosh, this was my pleasure.
Good to see you again.
So good catching
It has
up.
been too long. It's
It
been
has
more than a minute. So let's see each other more often.
Of course.
Deal? All right.
I love it.
And thank you for watching another episode of the Dunwoody Dialogues. I'm Mark Galvin, your host, and this show is produced by Discover Dunwoody. As you know, we have a fantastic producer, Madison Holtz. She's back there behind the camera right now, making sure that we hurry along because we probably ran a little long. We also have Emily Inser Allen, who is our sound technician. She makes sure we all sound good, and we love that. We want all of you to remember, as we do every show, to go out and get your Dunwoody sticker. We'd love for you to put this on your car. Get 2. Put one on both your cars. Have 3 cars? Get 3. Put them on every single one of your cars. Where can you find the Dunwoody sticker? The free Dunwoody sticker. You go to City Hall. Go check out the library. Go to the brand new restaurant in Dunwoody called Steak and Grace. That's opening in mid-January 2025. Barn has them. Did you know that? Go to Barn. In fact, you look around Barn, you'll see one of these stickers because I think David Abus has put it everywhere. So you can get it there. Art Coffee House also has it. If you're over there on the Tilly Mill side, they offer them to you for free. Or if you can't go anywhere else, come here. Stop by our office. We'd be happy to put one in your hands. We have thought about this, and we think that reaching realtors would be good. So if you are a local realtor, we'd love to give you a stack of Dunwoody stickers. You have somebody moving into a house, put a couple of Dunwoody stickers in their bag because I know you're giving them a welcome gift and a thank you gift. So we'd love to be a part of that. Thanks again for tuning in. You can catch us on all those social media channels. Discover Dunwoody. Just at Discover Dunwoody is our handle, and it's also our website, discoverdunwoody.com. So, Angie, thanks again for being here. It's so good to see you.
You too.
Don't be a stranger. Come back soon. Maybe we'll talk to you again. Maybe we have you come back when something big is happening. Right?
I love it.
All right.
This has been a pleasure.
We're going to keep her on speed dial. Thanks again for being
Of
here.
course.
And to all of you, thank you for watching. Now, go out, enjoy the day, and come discover Dunwoody.